Hey guys, this is Diamond Rivera, and we are back at it again with the live discussions with Diamond Podcast, episode 194. I said it, yes, 194 episodes. We are at the end of February, and honestly, this guest that we're about to have on for me means a lot because as a visual artist, I truly want to give love and appreciation to all visual artists, photographers, videographers, and etc. And for me as well, us working alongside each other at the Dallas Bachata Festival was an experience in itself. So the podcast here is taking our talents all the way to the West Coast and speaking to someone that really is creating an amazing content and with his company Daydreamia. And guys, today I'm pleased to announce that we have here owner of Daydreamia Media Company, the one and only Eric Cornejo.
Hey, what's up, people?
What's up, my brother? Honestly, Eric, man, thank you again for coming in. I see you like my virtual background, and I see the nice little office space you got behind you as well.
Yeah, I just figured it'll set a good tone for the conversation. But I'm really excited, man. Thanks so much for this opportunity. It's really a privilege to be able to, have a conversation, connect with someone who has a passion for the art and dance that we do. So thank you.
Absolutely, man. And but before we get started, gotta give a big shout out to Biscuit from all the way from London, showing some love out here with London Loves Bachata. Big shout out to London. And honestly, Eric, for me, having you on again, like I said earlier, means a lot because I definitely understand the what videographers go through. I understand maybe if it's a good stress, bad stress, time consuming, all the sacrifices we may make that brings us so much joy at times. But for me here at the podcast, the focus is, of course, celebrating your success, but also celebrating your journey and how really things have started for you. So, Eric, really, I kind of want to help us, take us back and help me understand who Eric Cornejo is before Daydreamia, before the traveling, the congresses, and everything. Who is Eric?
Okay, cool, man. Thank you. So just a little bit about my background. So I am a West Coast kid. Born in California, grew up in Las Vegas. Spent most of my working days in what's popular in Vegas. Promotions, marketing, entertainment. Stuff like that. I got an opportunity to actually move out to Sacramento with the office I was working with. And then I was there for not even a year. And then I got a management opportunity to Reno. And that's really when I guess my love or like I was awakened to what the dance world was. I kind of stumbled across the Reno Latin Dance Festival, and I just remember it blew my mind being there. It was like nothing I'd ever experienced. Um, I I didn't know the difference between salsa and bachata at the time. Like it's so funny to look back and think that I was even in there. But I had a great time, and um, I got inspired by the people, and really the community. It was really really welcoming on a local level, and like the people I met there that were from all over the country, and yeah, so I just got that desire to learn, and I was like, oh, okay, wow. Like, I mean, it sounds silly, but in the beginning, I didn't even really know how to get better at dance. Like, I didn't,
Mm,
I would show up at a social and I would see people dancing well, but I didn't really know like how they got there.
yeah.
It's like they say, it's like, oh, it's in their blood.
Mhm.
So you think, oh, okay, they just grew up or something like that. But um, little by little, I got introduced to a team there, like a choreo team there that was actually part of
Mhm.
Island Touch.
Okay.
Um, yeah, it was run by David and Lucy in Reno,
Mhm.
and so like that was kind of like one of the first steps I took towards like dancing with consistency to learn some
Yeah.
technique. some performance stuff. So that really helped me along, and that's actually what helped me realize who Ataka was, right? And then I started
Yeah.
like YouTubing his videos,
Hmm.
um, and then like it's funny because there's one of his videos that he shot. I was in LA a few, I don't know, maybe like a year later, not even a year later.
Hmm.
I happened to be at like an LA festival,
Yeah.
and he, he he was there, and he had his media team with him,
Hmm.
and I danced in the background just to like, so I guess you could say I video bombed it.
Or I don't know if this is an omission of a actual attempted video bomb, or it just so happened. I'm not too sure. This was the LA Bachata Festival. Am I correct?
Yeah, this was I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. Well,
Hmm.
the thing was is so I had seen his videos online. So
Yeah.
then I was like, so then I saw the lights come on, and I was like, okay, I could do one of two things. I could stand and like just watch,
Yeah.
or I could dance to like create like ambiance, you know?
Hey, listen. It
And-
worked. It worked.
yeah. So and like that's something like how my mind's always thought. Like I'm like, all right, like how can I benefit this, situation, right? So I was like, it will look cooler if Ataka and La Mana are dancing, and then there's other people in the background dancing, right? So
Hmm.
it'll make the event look cool. So that was my thinking at the time. Little did I know, due to their popularity, that the video would be very viewed a lot.
Hmm.
So not because of me, but because of them, of course.
Listen, but you're part of that video nonetheless. So we got
Yeah.
to be honest here.
Yeah, so I'm there, and then so yeah, Reno Land Dance Festival is what introduced me to the concept of a festival, and was like just
Yeah.
blown away by the ability to learn from a bunch of teachers, and then
Hmm.
the social dancing till 6 a.m. in the morning, and then the performances just really impressive. And then so that kind of got me going on my way. And then yeah, like Ataka and Andamana Island Touch, I would say is was my biggest earliest inspiration. Seeing his videos on YouTube, um, I wanted to be like him. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's my story.
Man, hey, I definitely appreciated the honesty because hey, that kind of moment puts you in a space of like, okay, now let me get a little more into this. And like you said, going to Reno or any of those really big festivals, for some it's a culture shock. I mean, if you're not partying all the time, if you're not in that kind of lifestyle when you first go to it, it's like, whoa, there's classes, there's parties, there's performances. So let me ask you a question because you said you had that dance. What was that dance experience like? I mean, of course, not besides the cameras of who they were filming, but your actual first initial dances. What were those like?
Well, it's pretty funny. So, like I said, when I showed up at that event, it was because I was living in Reno. So,
Hmm.
um, my dance ability was very few. And then I pop into the social room, which is full with like 1,000 people, or who
Yeah.
knows the number, something crazy like that. And I remember seeing all the girls in the room, and they're standing there, and they want to be asked to dance. And I was like, wow, I was like, I don't really know how to dance. Like, I was like, I know a little bit. I knew like the basic and
Hmm.
like a basic turn. I was like, all right, I'll ask him to dance. And then I remember, I remember some of them would back lead me.
Oh
And
man.
it's so funny, right? Because we joke about that, like, oh, she's back leading. But
Hmm.
back then, I thought it was cool because, like,
The reverse psychology in that.
yeah, because like I didn't know a lot of moves, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, cool. What is she doing? Like, this is like, like I had no idea. So she was like leading moves to the music, or with musicality and all that. And like I was like, oh, okay. Oh, so that's what like you could do in this move, right?
Hmm.
Um, and So I thought it was I thought it was a good experience.
Hey, I mean, I love that understanding. Is that hey, you actually had a better experience than most that I've spoken to. I've met people, I've seen it in different cities, whether it's New York, New Jersey, and abroad. That people will literally leave someone on the dance floor, and for some people, they
Mm.
have their reasonings why, but for others, I mean, hey, especially if this is a person that's new. This is a person that's getting into this dance. And I would say this, the difference is I doubt you were being aggressive. You were more just trying to understand what the moment was instead of like whipping somebody. That's different. But hey, you had that great experience of actually having someone still kind of connect with you at that moment, even though you didn't know you were being led. I mean, having
Yeah,
some
at the time, yeah, I didn't know what the term back lead was. You know
yeah.
what I mean? I just knew they were helping me along. You know, so
Hey, I mean, it happens, but at least the fact is you came out from that experience with something positive of you wanting to understand more. So then, and I also know that we've talked, and this started actually, was this in 2016?
yeah, 2016, I believe that January is when that festival
Yep.
was. So
Wow. And then, like, I think I've told you as well personally that I find it really a coincidence that you and like 80 to 90 other people I have had on this podcast have said 2016 was that year. I don't know what's in the water. I don't know
hmm.
what the universe had in store, but I find that fascinating that one specific year I've met multiples of people that their dance journey started. So, going from that festival, did you then turn into going into classes, or you were just more like, hey, when another festival comes, just let me know and I'm going?
Yeah, so I just went to that one festival, and then out of a desire to learn, uh, I joined the Island Touch team that was again managed by David and Lucy there,
Mhm,
and obviously that was geared towards performing at another festival at some point.
mhm,
So I joined that team, and then we had scheduled to perform in Vegas, which was July 4th weekend. And then yeah, and I was like, I think that was the next festival I went to was the Vegas one,
mhm.
because of being on the team, which is something to help move along my progress as a dancer.
Man, so wait, a question is then, now you stepped into the performing world. What was your first performance like?
Oh yeah, I mean it was nerve wracking. It was exciting.
Mhm.
Uh, yeah, it's really interesting how like the perception of time changes when you're on stage, and it's probably like the adrenaline makes you want to rush things, but really you realize you have more time. uh but yeah, it was really uh I mean, so what's the best word to describe it? It's an exciting feeling, to have
Mhm.
the people cheering you on, and to have all that preparation pay off. And so I had some friends and family in the crowd, which is cool. So yeah, that's really really nice to be able to show them something that I've been working on.
Yeah, I mean, hey, and I'll tell you this is that I appreciate that because we have been both of us actually have been the ones who've been on a stage and also off a stage, and the responsibility you have on a stage of showing the people that are watching you a good time. And
Right.
I definitely appreciate you doing that because not everyone can perform. There's people that can social dance, there's people that can perform, and some of those that can do everything in between. So just seeing that, you went from your first festival, then months later or time later going and actually performing. So then when did the actual creation of Daydreamia actually come about?
Great question. So yeah, just to add some details of the story. So I was living in Reno, and then about midway through that point or of that year, I end up moving to Denver, and that's when I found Rennie and Alejandra. That's yeah, your friend Rennie, you obviously collaborate a lot with. Uh, but yeah, it kind of worked out. My dance actually like kind of paused because again, moving cities,
Yeah.
like I had to. Again, the move was for work purposes.
Hmm.
Um, I was, helping expand in a sales and marketing team out there. So that was my main focus. And so my dance kind of stalled for a moment there. And, I had to get familiar with, where do you go dance? Like,
Yeah.
I'm here in Denver. So I had to figure that out. Again, I still like kind of knew very little at the time as well. Like,
Hmm.
I didn't I didn't know like these little details that like what's the difference between traditional and sensual and
Oh my god.
modern. Yeah, like I didn't know those things like
Yeah.
at all. I was just like, hey, I like the way the song sounds, like and like I naturally just like all of them, like I like the way all the music sounds,
Yeah.
and but it was really interesting because it was like remixes that kind of like caught my attention. I think it was like some when I hear like an EDM or like a
Hmm.
Beyonce remix,
Yeah.
and I was like, what? And then I see people doing like fusion moves to it. It kind of
Hmm.
really caught my eye. But yeah, so I went out there to Denver uh, and then so that's when I started training with Rennie and Alejandra. They had their studio. Uh,
Hmm.
they got there practically around the same time as me. They came from Orlando, so
Mm.
it was pretty convenient that they were there and that I was able to start learning from them. And I mean, the camera work kind of started right then and there because
Mm.
I would film like Rennie. I mean, really, my main purpose was just for recording the memory. Like,
Ah, okay.
yeah,
That's very interesting. That's very interesting.
yeah, that was the I looked up to them, like I loved how they danced. So I would want to record the dance, more so like just so I could watch it, for the memory.
Hmm.
Um, and then, share it on Facebook, that type of thing, for to help promote.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But and that was obviously all with my phone. We all have camera phones. Um, and then, but since the beginning, since I realized like I was like, oh, Ataka's videos, Ataka Yalamana's videos, they look all nice and clean and crisp. I was like, okay, like how can I make my videos look like that? Because if you realize, obviously, if you just shoot it with a phone,
Yeah.
it's dark, it's blurry, or grainy, things like that. Uh, I was like, okay, what can I was like, what do I need to do to capture the footage, um, and it looks nice, so
Hmm.
that when you share it with your friends and family on social media, like they can enjoy it rather than
Yeah.
just like. Uh, but yeah, that's kind of when that started.
Wow. And so interesting enough, of course, you talking about Rennie and Alejandra and their company at one point, RNA, and realizing kind of you started out as just wanting to just capture some memories for yourself, but then also in the back of your mind, kind of that moment of when you were in the same scene as Ataka Lemana, them being filmed and seeing like, okay, the correlation of how media is projected to the world and what people are more going to focus on.
Right.
People can see a dance, two of the same dances, but if the lighting and the audio is much more crisper and cleaner in one, a lot more times people are going to focus in. And that isn't a reality because most people consume things with their eyes. It's a visual thing, whatever visually appeals to you. And I've heard that from many people, but again, people are all different. So how did the actual name actually come about? Like, how did you create that specific name?
Awesome. So, uh, I was uh, I was starting to film a little more and more, and then some friends suggested like, hey, you do some nice work, you should get paid for it. I was like, okay, uh, that makes sense. So, and then I was like, all right, so I should probably come up with a brand.
Mm-hmm.
And um, I think I was coming. I don't even remember what it was. Some other ones I thought up, but um, I think I sent this girl a video that I filmed of her, and she said, "Oh, I'm I'm daydreaming, or thanks for this video because I've been daydreaming about that dance like all day."
Mm. Hey, hey, that's a perfect like inspiration to come up with a name for sure.
Right, right. It was relevant to uh what it was we were doing, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
and then I started to reflect on, when we go to these dance festivals or socials,
Yeah.
um you either have an amazing time and then you're back at work Monday or
Yes.
Tuesday,
Yeah.
and then you're just thinking back like, man, that was such a great weekend. Or the flip side, you're at work and then the festival's coming and you can't, and Friday can't come quick enough, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're daydreaming about the weekend that passed or the one that's coming up, and you're thinking about, wow, I can't wait to dance, and who am I going to get to dance with, and what am I going to get to wear? Um, and I mean, that kind of leads me to another thing is like, dance is about expression,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of dancers put a lot of effort into how they appear,
Yes.
and so capturing the themes of that social, whether it's an all white party or the Caribbean theme, and
Mm-hmm.
people put a lot of effort in and looking good. So uh being able to capture those moments and in a quality way
Mm-hmm.
became something important for me.
Yeah.
And yeah, and that's what kind of drove me to keep wanting to get better. But that's but that answers the question. So daydreamia um came from the concept of people daydreaming about dancing, and
Yeah.
then instead of making it daydream media, I just combined the two words.
Hey, and honestly, I love that aspect because it was an inspiration from a person that you provided content for that gave you that ultimate just kind of like, wait, that makes perfect sense. And so now you becoming Daydreamia, becoming this brand, was the transition from just being a part of the community, rather as a dancer, socialite, now stepping into the role of the person filming. Was it easy? Like, of course, it being in your community, was it an easy thing, or were there some bumps along the road?
Yeah, I mean, it's been pretty smooth because it's been something I've been able to multitask,
Hmm.
where it's like I already want to be at that event dancing anyways.
Yes.
So I just want to be able to capture some memories for me personally, for
Hmm.
my friends, for usually the team I'm with,
Hmm.
whether that's Renny and Alejandra in Denver, or out here I'm with Que Candela, Eddie Peligro,
Yes.
um, those teams. So uh, yeah, just helping to capture the memories um, at events that I already want to be at. Is so it hasn't been too bumpy in that sense.
That's good. So then now my question to you is kind of now stepping back into the dancing role of it. Of course, being a videographer, but kind of a person who's been in the community per se. For you, I heard you kind of over say earlier was about the traditional and the sensual styles of bachata. For you, if I was to ask, if you were going to an event and it had these two rooms, which room are you stepping into first?
That's interesting. So, the bachata room. Oh,
No, I mean,
wait.
no, I mean they're
Wait,
both.
wait.
Yeah, you know what I
Oh,
mean.
okay.
Like they're
They're
both. They're
both. Oh,
both.
okay. Okay. So there's. Oh, you're saying if there's a traditional and a modern or
Yeah,
essential.
yeah. That's
Okay. Oh, that's a tough one. But I think I mean, I would probably look at which one has more people in it. So,
And that also comes from your sales and marketing experience, because and I love that answer, because then when it's also the ambiance, like you said earlier, when you talked about that situation with Ataca Alemana, you weren't also just really thinking about just them, but the ambiance around that and how it would look. So, I mean, hey, I've asked that question to people because for me, I love bachata as a whole. I just noticed, especially in the past couple of years, for me, when it comes to sensual, even as a videographer, it's interesting to film people who dance sensual and film people that dance traditional or modern or what have you, just to kind of how connection may look different. So for you, like when you're filming someone, do you ever notice certain people kind of in your role of as the photo bomber or the video bomber? Do you ever get those moments that like you're focusing on a subject and someone, you can tell someone's trying to creep in and kind of take that spotlight?
uh, luckily, not too much. Not from the dancers in general. I mean,
Mhm.
you'll get tapped on the shoulder, but like nobody really like jumping in front of the camera.
Gotcha.
One of the things that I think is definitely probably seems like a good time to talk about it, just as a it's like videographer to videographer, right?
Mhm.
Um, is like a video courtesy, right? Like other
Mhm.
videographers might not realize it, but um,
Lighting.
yeah,
Yes. Yes.
right. So lighting, and then obviously, I don't know if I don't know why I keep thinking about driving, right? Like you want to be courteous driver, you want to be a courteous videographer, right? So if I'm filming that way, and then you come and you pop up in the shot, that's not gonna look good.
Oh my god, it feels like deja vu. But hey, I mean, to be honest, what you're saying is true. Like in actuality, I feel exactly the same way. If I would have the courtesy, it's like the right of way when you're driving.
Right, right.
You had like if I know most of the times, like when me and you, when I actually got to meet you, it was interesting because it was during showtime and I saw you and I was like, I know who this is. Let me just take this opportunity because I don't know when I'm gonna find him or see him. And I was telling you, like, hey, we can work together, we can do this when you're filming. Well, even when we went to the socials, it was literally for me, it felt seamless when we had a conversation of, hey, just let me know or give me the cue. You're gonna film here, perfect. Because again, there's a reason why you're filming a specific person at this moment. At that moment, that tells me as a trained visual artist, okay, let them have that moment until they give you the cue that you can at least come in and go. Because hey, like you said, also with videography in the terms of with payment, you are also working with artists most of the time. If you're filming a person for a whole song, if people
Mhm.
don't realize this, a lot of times there is an agreement or something attached to that with certain artists. Like, I'm doing this for you for whatever.
Right.
So the thing is, I think a lot of dancers don't realize, like, I'm not gonna be like, not everyone who is filmed may not always make it on a recap. When you're doing 2, 3, 4, 5 minute videos of one specific subject, I'm hoping people understand that's possibly an inclination that they are working with this artist to have a specific video for them. And
Right.
that should also be the inclination to other people that, hey, if someone like, and we're going to be honest, if you're in a huge space and you see that person go through the space and then go to an area where he can focus on one specific couple, common sense usually tells someone, hey, there's something going there. But to then come around or in the same direction and basically overpower their work and put it to yours, I just say, coming from New York, that's some fuck shit. That's disrespectful. That's just me. I'm not speaking for you. I'm just saying is I've seen that before, and that really it's irritating. it's unfortunate because then your content can be affected with someone else's just lackluster approach to things. But hey, it's a learning experience.
Right.
For me, it's like I understand. And a lot of people who come to congresses and festivals don't give a lot of credit to visual artists, whether it's the Island Touch, whether it's the media team in Chicago, um, whether it's the people from Texas, people from California, whatever. A lot of times people don't understand. It's like, hey, they're there to have fun and film, but it's also a job. There's also certain things you have requirements what you want to do. And for me, especially as a media director of an event, now I have the utmost respect for not just my team, but also I appreciate people who aren't a part of my team who are doing this because again, everyone in some form of fashion is trying to make a name for themselves. So why not a person that works with an event work alongside and with you? Because again, we all started from plan A or point A and trying to get the point Z in some form of fashion. And for me, it's like seeing your work. And as we worked in Dallas, it was great to see how you filmed and then come around like, okay, I got this. I see how he's working. Because hey, man, nothing's worse than you film for 2-3 hours out of some time and you look at your videos and it's just like the colors is all off. Like the feeling is like, damn, this is that moment. But hey, man, I've seen your work and I appreciate it. I love it. So, lastly, now my question is before we get into our last segment called the randoms, is we're in now 2022. And I people have to understand this as well. We're videographers, we're socialites, whatever in our communities, but we also have a life outside of dance. Dance is not 24/7 or 25/8. Like it's a part of our lives, but not always our full life. For you, really going forward into 2022, how does the outlook or what are some new things maybe Daydreamia is getting into and some projects that you're probably working on?
Yeah, so I'm definitely continuing to develop my video skills and try
Mhm.
to keep up on technologies constantly evolving.
Yes.
So you don't want to get left behind. So I want to continue to learn, or I'm going to continue to learn as much as possible. It's a
Mhm.
process. I love networking, from people like yourself and other videographers in the scene, that are cool enough to like network
Yeah.
and obviously pick their brains, asking little questions, why'd you film it like this and not like
Mhm.
that, and or where'd you get the idea to do this? So little things like that is definitely on the agenda. And then, yeah, I mean, there's really like it's because it's a world of art. Like there's so
Yeah.
many facets to it, right? It's like how can how can we film this performance better? How can we film the social dance or
Mhm.
the workshop, right? Like that's like so many different stages right there. Recap videos. How can I portray the vibe here?
Yeah.
Um, so there's a lot of things to work on, and being considerate of the audience as well, right? Like
Yes.
how can I give them something that they're gonna enjoy, uh, and just really tell a good story. So that's what I'm working on in 2022, and then I have things on the side. Like I love dance and I love videography, but I got some other things that I'm working on. Being a solar energy consultant, you could say is like my day job.
Yeah.
And but yeah, that's but I'm going to continue to develop my dance skills
Mhm.
because I think one of the value some of the value that I bring to my videography is
Mhm.
understanding the dance. So
Mhm.
by understanding the dance, then I'm able to film it better.
Absolutely. Because when you understand movement, then it makes filming your subjects so much easier.
Exactly.
Because it's cool to just stand there in one spot, but when you're able to move and glide and have the camera move with the subject as one, it gives a whole different feel to it. So I appreciate that. And now it helps us transition to our last segment called the randoms. And I couldn't wait to do this for me because these questions may deal with dance, may deal with life, and everything in between. So, Eric, we're about to hit you with the first question here. And this isn't a dance question. So, here
Oh,
is,
shoot.
what is your superpower if you could have one?
My superpower, if I could have one. Hmm. Is it limited? Like to
I mean, I would just say one superpower,
I would
and
like to
that would
fly. I would like to
okay.
fly.
Hey, you could go from one event to another. I mean,
I
like
mean, that would be great. That would save me a lot of time.
save you a lot of time and a lot of money. Trust
Right.
me.
And I wouldn't be cramped on the airplane.
There you go. There you go. All right. Next question here is, if you could have one last meal right now, what would it be?
Hmm. I'm gonna give a shout out to New Orleans.
Okay.
Something
That's that's actually my favorite city. That's actually where
okay.
a lot of my family's from. So I'm interested to hear what you're about to tell.
So yeah, I mean, hopefully it's a plentiful meal, and if I could just have an array of what they put on the menu, some fried catfish, some red beans and rice, uh, some gumbo, things like that. I'll be I'll be one happy last meal.
Hey man, I appreciate it. Big shout out to New Orleans, man. All right, next question here. This is a new question I brought up because I realize a lot of artists or people that I know in the scene have a confliction with it. So, are you an introvert or an extrovert?
That's a funny question. What's in the middle?
I mean, you could maybe be an introverted extrovert, an extroverted. Trust me, I've heard it all. I mean, if you feel like you have like kind of a midpoint, that's perfectly fine as well.
I would say, hmm, I like, yeah, I'm like off and on. I have different moments, right? Uh, but I'm an extrovert.
Hey, okay. Hey, gotta respect it. Gotta respect it. All right, now we're gonna go into the filming. You've gone to many festivals, many socials and events. Can you give me or name me one of your favorite artists to film? And just one.
All right. And I know this is gonna sound biased,
It's
but
okay.
Eddie Peligro
Of
from Phoenix,
course. Big shout
from
out to Eddie
Phoenix,
Peligro.
from Phoenix, Arizona.
I mean, man, that body movement, them hits, man. That say he's got
Right,
fire. There's fire over there, get Candela.
right.
Definitely
Yeah,
respect that.
you feel the energy coming through the lens. It's just boom.
Absolutely. All right, now we're gonna take it to the dance floor. And whether you're a dancer or you're transitioning into your videography, you pick up the camera or put down the camera. What is a pet peeve of yours on the dance floor? We're talking about the person you're dancing with. What's something that honestly can be irritating and kind of just make the
Mm.
whole dance not feel like there's connection?
I mean, I'm just going to go with a simple one. Like the hygiene,
Thank you.
whether it's bad breath or too sweaty. Like I like. I mean, I think you're gonna sweat. I think that's
Yeah.
actually a good sign that the person's drinking water.
Yeah. You know what's
But,
funny? I never even thought about it like that. I just thank you. Now I'm gonna be thinking about that more
but
often when I see
I
people.
think I think they need to be prepared for that and bring a towel or bring an extra shirt.
I'm
Yeah, I think too much makes it where it's like, yeah, I mean, unless we're we're straight up dancing in the Caribbean and like the tropics where like the humidity's like 1,000.
yeah.
I, I don't. But anyway,
You can't. I'm gonna be honest, Eric. I agree with you because there is no way that a AC could be on full blast next to you and you profusely sweat for hours and not even grab a towel.
yeah, just grab a
Just
towel.
grab a towel. Just it's
Just
okay.
grab a towel. Bring an extra shirt. Go change.
Yes, Come on, you can't tell me that's the only outfit you had for that night. But I digress. All right, now this should be interesting. We're taking away the camera, bring you back to social dancing. So if you could have one follow right now to dance with, who would that be?
Ooh, I'm gonna go with Cindy from Lithuania.
Okay. I
Yeah,
like that. I like that. Love that answer, man. And then you're talking,
I'm talking from Azel and Cindy from
yes,
Bachata
Azel.
Fever.
Oh, yes. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I
Yeah,
mean, her just you can tell how well rounded she is as an artist. I mean, the
yeah.
ballet, everything in between. And hey, I love that selection for real. I definitely do. All right, and this one should be interesting then, because you maybe have touched on it, but let's see this answer. So if you aren't dancing, you are doing blank.
I'm working, man. Or
There you
I like to get outdoors too. So bike, hike, kayak, like all that stuff. I love all that stuff as well.
Okay, appreciate that answer. All right, next one here. Can you give us a fun fact about you?
Fun fact about me: I used to play the viola as a kid.
I mean, hey, that's something to definitely talk about for sure. I mean, it also maybe goes to also your understanding and knowledge of music, instrumentation. So I mean, everything plays a role here. So it's interesting then. This next question that I have for you, which is our second to last question, is if you could live in a new city right now, where would it be?
Miami.
Okay, I don't. The smile there.
Hey,
Hey,
it's happening, right?
I mean,
Miami.
I definitely see that. I definitely see that. And Miami is a beautiful place in itself. So you never know. So right now, it's going to lead us to our last question. And this one I love asking people, especially dancers who've gone to events. So now we're putting the responsibility, and I call this the performance question. So right now you're at your favorite festival. The organizer, promoter, what have you says, Eric, I'm giving you the opportunity to announce our closer of our show. Who right now is closing your show? You can do a Saturday night, Sunday night, Friday night, doesn't even matter. But they gave you the option to say, hey, in our showcase, you get to choose the closer. Who is it?
So you're asking me like what performance, like what performer or performers would I want to close the show?
Absolutely.
All right. Let me take a sip.
Yeah. I don't know if it's putting you on the spot. I don't, you wanted me to ask you. So, hey,
I mean, I don't know. I think it's hard to I think it's hard to look past the production from Tropical Gem.
mm, oh my God. And the way you said that, it meant so much because in reality, Tropical Gem has performed a lot more in the States on the West Coast than they have on the East. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong in the future, but Tropical Gem's influence for years, Fernando Sosa and them and that collective, with Tatiana and everybody included, like their performances are out of this world. I don't know if you ever seen that Red Diablo routine, um, the all red one that it's just crazy turn patterns. But I mean, I love that answer, Tropical Gem for sure. I thought you were gonna go on a bias one again, but I
No,
appreciate
I kept it.
I appreciate it,
Sincere.
man. And Eric, thank you again for doing this segment. I definitely feel it was so beneficial. It added some levity to the conversation. But now we are at a conclusion of our talk today. And honestly, man, Eric, I appreciated everything you brought to the table from start to finish. Us as well meeting last year at the Dallas Bachata Festival, having a great combo at the airport before we parted ways, and getting to know one another as visual artists. And just from one artist or one visual artist to another, I appreciate your work. Your work is valued and appreciated here, because again, I know what it takes. I know the hours of filming or the hours of editing or the time consuming, man, as it happens with. But hey, man, I appreciated you coming on today. I know you're a busy man, but before we go, I'd love to know if you had any last few words for myself and the audience, and contact info and how we can contact
Oh,
Daydreamia.
absolutely. Yeah, thanks so much for having me on, Diamond. Really, I can't believe it flew by, man, and it just reminds me of that conversation at the airport. It just when you're having a great conversation,
Yeah.
it goes by so quick. So thanks so much for this opportunity. I'm glad I could share. I'm glad I could learn from you. I love your passion for the arts and really connecting people. So I really appreciate that about you. If you guys want to keep up with me, you can find me on Instagram, Daydreamia page, or Facebook, Daydreamia page. No problem. Just follow me on there. And then, I'll be at some events, a lot in the USA, of course, starting April 1st in LA. We'll be at the traditional Bachata Festival the
Hey,
first
I'm
one.
excited to see some
Yeah,
content from you from
yeah.
that.
So, that's going to be a super bash. I'm at your service. I'm here trying to help out just, anyone who would like to have some quality content for themselves. So, if you'd like me to work for you, just send me a message and I'll let you know if that's possible. But other than that, thanks so much for the opportunity, Diamond. And I look forward to talking to you more and seeing your work. And hopefully we catch up at a festival soon.
Absolutely, man. Thank you so much. And everyone that's tuned in, that will be tuning in. It's been another special episode of the Live Discussions with Diamond podcast, episode 194. We're back again tomorrow, 6 p.m., with the one and only Tamara Valle, all the way from the Texas area. Everyone, thank you again for tuning in. Stay safe. We'll see you soon.